So you want to get better at Rainbow Six. Who doesn't? This game is a complex shooter, highly competitive, and honestly just hard to be good at in general. You might be stuck down in the lower ranks, or you might even be stuck all the way up in Diamond trying to hit Champ for the first time. Whatever rank you're in, or even casual, there are ways to improve your game and get better because being good at the game is more fun, like actually. In general, if you understand the map layouts, have good habits, and good mechanics, you can easily hit Diamond on your own, but most people aren't. So why is that? Really, it comes down to two things. Firstly, accountability, and secondly, actually putting in the work to improve instead of just playing the game. Let's talk about what I mean by accountability. Accountability is about being hyper responsible for the actions and decisions you make throughout the round. In R6, it is extremely easy to blame your teammates because it is such a team-intensive game. I even struggle with this issue, but the more accountable you become for yourself and the less you put the blame on your teammates, not only will you learn from your mistakes, but you'll also have a better mindset for the next round or the next game. This is the easiest and fastest switch to make as long as you actively focus on what you can control, which turns out is just what you do during the round. Another thing you can control is how much work you actually put in, and this is my second point. If you want to get better, you probably are already willing to put in the work and might just be struggling with the how. How do I get better, and what's the fastest way to improve? It's literally the title of this video. Let's talk about some of the core aspects to improving and how I find that I can improve extremely quickly using the deathmatch game mode. TDM gives you a massive amount of real player engagements in gunfights in a much shorter amount of time than you would get in a real match. If you're only playing ranked or casual, you're only getting up to a few engagements every 3 minutes, plus over a minute of pick and prep phase between each round. Not to mention, most rounds you might not even get into a single gunfight. Comparing this to TDM, you're getting 30 to 50 gunfights all in a short 10-minute match. This gives you much more practice in a much shorter amount of time. In my opinion, TDM is the absolute best way to improve on every mechanical and strategic tactic in the game though, outside of the actual operator and secondary abilities. That's right. You can even practice strategy in TDM. Most people are using this game mode wrong though. They run around with Finka LMG or the AK-12 and absolutely mow down everyone and think that they're the best. Firstly, this mode used to be called warm-up. If you're using the most broken weapons in the game, the only thing you're warming up is your ego, which will deflate pretty quickly when you enter a ranked game and you're stuck with the SMG-11 going up against that AK-12 and LMG that you so fondly use in the warm-up beforehand. So yeah. First things first, just don't pick the best weapons in the game if you're trying to improve. Personally, I like something that has a low bullet count and a one-time sight on it and does low damage. The SMG-11 is perfect for this, but the P10 Roni also works. The reason for using a gun like this is that it forces you to get headshots because of the low damage, and it forces you to be more accurate or else you're gonna run out of bullets. So great. Now you're aiming high and trying to be more precise with your shots, so your aim and crosshair placement is actually going to improve. Compare this to walking around with an LMG and you can probably see the point. If you're finding that you're not hitting headshots or just getting smoked, the chances are your crosshair is not placed high enough and you should literally think in your brain, okay, aim up a little bit every time you spawn in. This works for me, but maybe I'm crazy, I don't know. The other thing about crosshair placement is you just want to be aiming at where the enemies could come from instead of aiming into a floor or a wall, but that one is pretty straightforward and just watching your own gameplay back can help notice and fix this. Aim is not all though. The actual path you take and how you determine where to go during the warm-up is also important. This is where you get to start practicing that strategy and where you get the opportunity to improve on the various skills you'll need throughout your ranked matches. Instead of just aimlessly walking around the map, you should be trying to do one of a few different things. In general, just pretend like you're actually playing a ranked game. If you spawn in and see you're near one of the common bomb sites, approach it like you're an attacker going for a retake. Use quick peeks to gain info on each angle, pre-fire default corners, and retake the site. This will get you practice on how to retake so that when you come up to that same situation in ranked, you'll be more practice for it. Unfortunately, the TDM mode doesn't have all the current ranked maps, but once it does, it'll be even better. If you spawn near a bomb site, practice a retake, and then if you do it successfully, try to defend it. Don't hide in a corner because the chances are pretty good the enemies are just running around and it won't help anything, but instead take aggressive fights around the site to maintain control of the entire area. This will make you much more comfortable with the concept of space control and is overall very helpful. TDM is especially great for this because you have no callouts, so you get used to being self-sufficient without relying on teammates or cameras for information. The only information you have is from yourself, so quick peeking for info is especially key. And this takes us to our next point. Movement. Fluid movement, quick peeking, and leaning the right direction can all be practiced here as well. You could literally go 0 in 40 and walk around the map practicing baiting out shots or dodging enemies, and you would still gain so much practice of your movement and understanding of it. The scoreboard does not matter, just focus on what you need to improve and go from there. The next concept that is super powerful when playing the TDM mode is baiting your teammates. Finding a teammate and walking around right behind them may seem a little bit like an asshole move, but realistically it's an awesome way to practice trading. Baiting your teammates in this manner is a very practical skill to learn. If you can learn to do this, you could realistically win every 2v1 situation whether or not your teammates are communicating with you. Knowing how to trade effectively is going to make you infinitely better and win you many more rounds. Imagine if every person on your team knew how to trade each other out in this manner. Getting the first kill of the round would mean a 5v4 would turn into a 4v3, and then a 3v2, and then a 2v1, and a 1v0. Meaning you've won the round, obviously. Most of the time, this is not going to be the case because someone is bound to get killed in a ridiculous way or just throw their life at the enemies, but you can see the point. So basically, you want to follow your teammates around, practice reacting to the enemies that killed them, and then taking them out as they are either reloading or switching targets from your teammates to you. This will probably take some time to get good at, especially if your aim is already pretty shit. It's unfortunate, but it's true. Keep in mind, R6 is a first-person shooter first and foremost, and if you can't shoot back, it's going to be infinitely harder to win. The last skill we're going to talk about is isolating gunfights. When you're down in man advantage or in a clutch situation, the best way to win is by isolating each enemy and having a one-on-one with them. Doing this multiple times will lead you to the round win. Quite frequently, people will sit back and wait in these situations when realistically you want to try and get the man advantage back before it's too late. In order to do this though, you have to isolate the gunfights and get aggressive on the areas where you know that they're alone. The best way to practice this is in TDM. To find out where an enemy is, use other forms of cover to protect you from behind and the side and try to win the gunfight. Once you've done that, you can flip the cover you were using to the other side to watch your back and fight another guy. Using cover to cover you so that you're not engaging with multiple people at once is the key to this. So to improve on all of these skills, I'd recommend just playing a couple games of TDM every day. You can of course do more than that, but staying consistent and practicing one thing at a time is the best way to improve. If you're trying to do all of them at once, you're going to overload and not get effective practice, so pick a skill for that day and focus on that, whether it's aim and crosshair placement, positioning and isolating gunfights, retaking and defending, getting better movement, or of course, baiting your teammates. If you have any questions, please let me know in the comments. I'll be trying to get to all of them to help you guys improve the best that I can, and good luck!